lot. My good friend Cindy, who is in the back of the room out there somewhere, said to me, Heather, make sure you share with these people some of the harder things about you. Like you grew up really poor, that you got fired, that you're a single mom, that you started from nothing. I said, Cindy, should I share with them that I just took my high heels off and wiped my sweaty feet on the rug? This is who I am, people. I am flawed. Anyone else in here flawed? All right, good. I like that. My people. Okay, the other kind of people I love are salespeople. Do we have any salespeople here? Okay, here's a really big revelation for everyone. Everyone is in sales. Do you realize that? Okay, then I have another question for you. Are you mad at me? No. Have a bone to pick with me? No. Then why has no one in this room reached out to me to pitch me FITTEAM products? Thank you for having some confidence in getting up here right now. Thank you. Now I want to explain something, and I really mean this, and it's funny, I was just 2 weeks ago, I was in Orlando speaking at another sales and marketing conference. Same thing, no one pitched me the product before I got there. Wow, that's what I'm saying. Holy cow, I'm coming in hot. All right.
Here's the test, so you don't have to hold on to it the whole time.
Oh, but you'll give it back to me, you promise?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Here's the thing. It is not your job to decide what is right for me or not. Yes? Yes. It is your job to allow people who have gained weight in COVID to lose it. Have I gained weight in COVID?
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm part of the COVID-15 club. I still got 10 to go. So if someone had come to me and said, hey Heather, you're coming to our event, really excited to see you. I didn't know if my products might be able to make your life a little bit more beneficial, but I thought I should probably share with you what they are, and you can make that determination for yourself. Yes?
Yes.
We live in a really dark world the past couple of years. It's our job to make the world a brighter place. You have products and services that improve people's lives, yes?
Yes.
Start improving mine. Who else are you holding back on out there? Think to yourself, holy cow, you should be running out this door right now, not even sitting in here. There are so many people to serve, so many lives to change. I was reading the testimonials on your website, and I'm thinking, I'm pissed. I should have been on this product for the past few months.
Yes.
But that's not going to happen if you don't get your message out there. Not only is it your job, that can be your purpose. Make this world a better place. That's what we need today. It's dark. Dimming your light will never light up the world. Start turning your light up and turn it my direction and everybody else's. Okay, so we got that out of the way. You're not mad at me. Phew. I didn't know. Sometimes I have to put my foot in my mouth. I do things incorrectly, so I'm glad to hear we're starting off on the right foot. Another thing that I was excited to hear about was that the theme of your conference was Dream Bigger. People here ready to dream bigger? Okay, all right. Oh, and I just remembered we have people live streaming too, so just shout out to everybody out there. You keep dreaming bigger too. So, I'm big into, I don't say dream bigger, but I'm big into just go bigger. And I started doing this 4 years ago. No, not my whole life. I'm 47, and for the majority of my life, I was dialing myself down. I was dimming my light in hopes it might ignite somebody else's. I was dimming my light because I thought maybe it would make other people more comfortable. Anyone else ever do that? What I learned is dimming your light is never the answer. Amplify, amplify, dream bigger, just go bigger. Thank you, Blue Shirt Sir. But it all starts with having the confidence, or balls, I don't know what you want to call it, to actually put yourself out there to do it. It's scary. No one called me to pitch me FITTEAM. It was scary. I was too busy. She doesn't need it. right? We come up with stories. We all come up with stories. You come up with stories, right? We all do. Stories why it won't work, stories why someone doesn't need something. We need to start telling ourselves stories that empower us and challenge us to get out of the familiar zone. No, I don't call it the comfort zone. I call it the familiar zone. It was never comfortable for me working in a place where I had a woman who hated me giving me side eye all the time. Wasn't comfortable. Yeah, someone out there do it, you know? We all have our own villains out there. Wasn't comfortable, but it was familiar. So over a decade, it became normal. Imagine that, someone giving you side eye becomes normal. You don't even quit. You hear me? You feel me on that one? Okay. It became normal, and I became used to being treated poorly. Anyone else ever been treated poorly? Here's the thing that I learned. I learned all this by doing it the wrong way, right? I learned everything by doing it the wrong way, and those are the lessons that last. I do have a 14-year-old son, so luckily I get to relearn everything now through his eyes. That's a lot of fun, too. It really is a lot of fun. Very interesting, actually. So, I've done things wrong, and I started learning how I can start stepping into unfamiliar and doing them correctly. And that means now I'm teaching people how to treat me. So when people treat me poorly, I don't get upset with them. I look inward and I say, how can I show up differently to handle this? How can I create boundaries? How can I put myself first? How can I invest in myself? Who's investing in themselves in this room? These are my people. How can we do things differently to push ourselves out of familiar? There are a lot of ways. I want to give you a couple of hacks, and then I'm going to get into a couple of different stories so that you understand the struggle is real. Oh yes it is. Oh yes it is. But it's worth it. So I want to get into that in a minute, but first of all, I want to give you a couple of hacks that have worked really well for me in sales and in life that I think will really empower you. Okay, I need to hear from everyone. I need to hear from you out there. How many of you write down a list to go to the grocery store? Well, pretty much everybody. Apparently he's not doing the grocery shopping. That's okay. We won't hold that against you, sir. Does anyone know why people write down their grocery list before they go to the store?
To not forget.
To not forget, right? We are 90% more likely to accomplish something if we Oh! How many of us have our 2021 goals written down in front of us every day? A lot less people that have their list for the grocery store. Do you know what that tells me? Your grocery list is more important than your goals for the year. Is that true? No. So let's start changing that. I changed that. I used to write down everything I needed to do for the lady that gave me side-eye. But I didn't write down my big goals, my just go bigger, dream bigger moments. I do now. And you know what it does? Not only does it keep it top of mind for me, it holds me accountable. The more we write it down, revisit it, share it with our family, tell your children, tell your grandchildren, we are reverse engineering pressure on ourselves to show up as that best version of me. Who's ready to do that? When I wanted to write my second book, I had a tremendous amount of internal pressure. No one knew I was writing a second book. I didn't want to do it. I couldn't I was right there. I knew I wanted to do it, but I couldn't pull the trigger and do it. I thought I need some accountability. I went to social media and I posted, hey everyone, super excited to announce I've got a new book that's going to be coming out next year. Can't wait to hear what you think. Did I have a second book coming out the next year? No. But I knew if I started sharing my goals that I had written down, that I visit on the daily, if I shared them with the world, it would hold me accountable. And guess what I would do? Right, I'd write the book, pitch the product, win the competition, pitch yourself. Whatever your goal is, get clarity, write it down, revisit it, and hold yourself accountable. I'm going to give you another hack that is a game changer, and I only learned about this hack 2 years ago, and it's helped me immensely, and it's going to help you as well. Okay, you guys are all familiar with the Olympics. Yes. Whatever year it is, right? It was the 2020 games, 2021 games, I'm not sure. But in the Olympics, these are the most elite athletes out there. What we've done is we've stolen a hack from these elite athletes that empower them to achieve bigger results than anyone could ever imagine, world record-breaking results. And it's going to empower you to achieve those goals that you wrote down for 2021 and 2022. But I'm going to have to make you do something that's very uncomfortable. I'm going to ask you all to stand up. People hate standing up at conferences, right? You're supposed to be standing, lady. Well, I am standing, and now you're with me, and thank you for that. Now, I want you to stagger yourself so you're not too close to the people next to you, maybe one ahead, one behind. Just give yourself a little bit of space. Luckily, we've got lots of space in this room. And at home, stand up right now. I need you on this. It's important. Okay, thank you back there. Thank you. All right, so this works. Trust me, it's a little weird, but it's going to pay dividends, okay? I only operate in strong ROIs. All right, here we go. I want you to extend your right arm, pointer finger out. I want you to keep your body right where it is and turn just your arm back. Okay, we've got a workout going on in here. Bring it back, my future Olympians. Put it down. All right, not too bad. That was not too bad. Okay, stay standing. Don't stay at home, I can see you. All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then you're doing it with me. I'm going to close my eyes. All of you, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to see your arm, your right arm extends, pointer fingers out. Your right arm starts turning behind. It goes twice as far behind you this time, twice as far as it did last time. You bring it back, you put it down. Okay, some of you acted that out in real time. I didn't ask you to do that, but you're gonna get extra credit points for that. All right, here we go, overachievers. Now, eyes open, we're back together. Extend your arm out, pointer finger out. Your arm's gonna go backwards twice as far this time. Let's bring it around. Bring it back forward. Future Olympians in the house. All right, you can sit down. Now, I have a question for you. How many of you turned your arm further the second time? Everybody virtually, right about everybody. The other ones that didn't, let's meet after and find out what went wrong there. Okay, so here's the thing. This is why Tom Brady is the GOAT. And yes, I'm originally from Boston. Yes, I'm pissed he's at Tampa now. But that man is still winning Super Bowls in his 40s for this very reason. Probably a few others. He goes there in his mind before every game. These Olympians are going there in their mind before every race. When you've been there in your mind, you're tricking your brain into thinking this really already happened. I have a podcast. Yes, this is a podcast plug, Creating Confidence with Heather Monahan. And I get to meet with really smart people weekly. I had a neuroscientist on my show. We were talking about this, and I was asking him, why does this work? P.S., why did no one teach me this when I was a kid? Why am I learning this in my 40s? He said, I don't have that answer, Heather. However, I have this one. You are creating pathways in your brain. That's how memories are stored. Your brain believes this has already happened. So the more that Tom Brady sits there and in his mind sees himself winning the game, when he takes the field, his body says, you've been here before. You've done this. You're about to go win a game. There are so many other elements you can add to this. Music is a really powerful one. This is a hack that I use. Anytime I'm going to speak, I play the same playlist right before I go get on stage. It primes my brain. I strongly suggest when you guys are going, dreaming bigger and going for bigger things, start priming your brain. See yourself accomplish it in your mind's eye. Kick in the music that's going to tell you it's about to happen. That's Pavlov's law. Yes, I was a psych major. Anyone know what Pavlov's law is? Oh, I saw some psych. Yay, my people. All right, I'm impressed. Okay, so this is the same thing, what we're doing. And for those of you who don't know, who weren't psych majors, there was this scientific experiment where scientists brought a dog in. They would ring a bell, then they would put the food down. Then they would ring the bell and put the food down. Ring the bell, put the food down. Guess what started happening?
Ring the bell.
What happens when you ring the bell? The dog salivates. Thank you, future scientists and psychologists in the back. The dog doesn't need to see the food to start salivating. Why? Because the brain is telling it heard the ringing of the bell. You are about to eat. Conditioning. Don't just do it for the dog. Do it for you. These are hacks that work, the most elite athletes use. I use them. I had the opportunity to interview Sarah Blakely live on stage back in 2019. I was scared to death. Not only is she a billionaire, not only is she an amazing public speaker, she has the whitest teeth in the world. And I was gonna have to stand next to her. I was freaking out. So I said, okay, use this hack, Heather, use this hack. Every day I would lay down on my floor, trying to calm and center myself. I would close my eyes. I would go there in my mind's eye. I'd see her. She's smiling at me. I'm smiling at her. We take the stage. We're walking together. It's going great. We stand up at the end. We get a standing ovation. We walk off and hug. I saw it happen so many times. I played my music. I had the songs, I listen to Kanye and Jay-Z, and I know that might not be for everyone, but that's for me. And I'm playing it, I'm listening to it, and I'm about to kill it. And I walk into the venue, I've never met her before, and I see her, and I go running over to give her a big hug, and she's not a hugger. Okay, things are gonna go wrong, we know it's not gonna go flawless, I'm gonna rebuild here, I'm gonna go put my music on. I go into the green room, I put my music on. I knew that was the one controllable I had. Otherwise, I was gonna go downtown with this lady hates me and this is not gonna go well. So, I put the music on, I start priming my mind. I'm back in my zone. I'm gonna crush this, let's do it. We go to walk out. I mentioned I have really sweaty feet. Did you hear me say that at the beginning? Really sweaty feet. They actually sting too, but that's for another time. I'm walking out into the Wayne Theater in front of thousands of people. My feet are so sweaty, the heels come off. Sucks. Lean on your strengths. I made a big joke. I don't remember specifically what I said, but I'm from Boston, so I said something like, leave it to the homegirl to have the sweaty feet when walking out with Sarah Blakely. And when people started laughing, it got me at least over to the couch. We sat down, and I had seen this in my mind's eye so many times. So many things went wrong while we were out there. We won't get into that, but it went unbelievable. We got the standing O, and when we went backstage, she did give me a hug. And I realized that would have never gone down that way had I not put that mental work in. When you dream bigger, when you go bigger, you're gonna have to put the work in. You're gonna have to understand failure's gonna be part of it. Your feet are gonna get sweaty. The heels could come off, and we're gonna put them back on. So those are a couple of hacks that I hope you walk away and implement in your business, because I promise you they help me immensely, they will help you as well. I wanna share a little bit about who I am and some of the hacks that I've learned along the way the past 4 years. As I mentioned, when I first came out, I grew up very, very poor. My mom had us on food stamps. It was all she could do to get by with 4 kids. My childhood was not a great one. And people are surprised when I share this because for a long time, I wanted to present an image that my childhood was fantastic and I am, part of one of these TV shows, The Brady Bunch or any other one. I didn't want people to know it wasn't what people thought it might be. Here's why. I had shame attached to a time in my life. Anyone here ever felt shame? Powerful, powerful emotion. Shame will either claim you or you can claim your shame. My life started to change 6 years ago when I started to speak and share that I grew up poor. I flipped the script on shame. The more I started claiming my shame, the less it claimed me, and the more powerful and confident I became. You want to dream bigger, you want to go bigger, you're going to have to become confident. You're going to have to believe in yourself for those moments when nobody else believes in you. Claim your shame if you have any, and I truly believe most of us do. No one's talking about it. So I got through my childhood. I had a paper route at 9 years old, started bussing tables at 12, working at fast food restaurants, and then ultimately a waitress, and then a bartender. And really what I did over a 20-year period was I honed in on sales skills. Didn't know that at the time. I I thought I was just trying to make a couple extra bucks. That turned into a career at the Gallo Winery, and then I got sexually harassed. And I wasn't confident back then. I didn't claim my shame back then. So I quit the job, and I went to a networking event, and I was chatting up every person I could find. I needed a job. And I'm chatting with one man, and let's just put it out there, this is long before Google. So cut me some slack. I'm chatting with this one man, and he says, you should come to work for me. I bet you could make a lot of money in sales. I said, you can't afford me. Give me a number, he says. I said, $80,000. He said, done, you start tomorrow. That was the first time of many I would leave money on the table because I didn't value myself. That man was worth $100 million. He still laughs about that conversation to this day. He taught me the radio business, took me under his wing. He was a great guy, a great mentor. And if you don't have a fantastic mentor, there are so many available online. Curate the knowledge you're feeding yourself and access people who are ahead of you. I was lucky to have this man in my life, but then he became very lucky. I made him a lot of money. So during this time, I was in my early 20s, living with my boyfriend, as I'm sure many people did when they were younger, and he cheated on me. And I remember going into work with no makeup on, head down, tears in my eyes, and my boss, my mentor, saying, what happened to my all-star? Who are you? And I said, I've been cheated on, my life is over, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And he said, will you get on a plane with me tomorrow and move somewhere for one intention, to make yourself a very rich young lady? I said, okay, I won't have to see him again, I'm on the plane. I jumped on a plane with my boss at the time. He dropped me off in Saginaw, Michigan. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I mean, there's empathy in that top. Thank you. They used to call me LA because I had a full set of teeth. I was 25. Not making it up. They dropped me off in Saginaw, Michigan. We bought a $25 million operation. My boss looked at me and said, you are now my partner. I'm going to give you an equity stake in the company. A very teeny equity stake in the company. Remember, I wasn't valuing myself, so I didn't negotiate. I didn't push back. I didn't ask for more or dream bigger. I took what he offered me. Never take what they offer you. He left. I stayed. I was there for almost 2.5 years with one job in mind: accelerate revenues as rapidly as you can so we can flip the property, make some money, and get out of here. I did just that. I dreamt bigger. I went bigger. I tried things that I had never tried before. I went into car dealers where I knew no one, asking for $50,000 deals and getting them. Doing things differently paid off. No one had ever gone there and asked for the kinds of things that I had asked for. I kept raising my hand. I kept going into unfamiliar, uncomfortable. And we sold that property for $55 million in under 3 years, netting me and my partners $30 million. I was 27 years old. I left that deal and moved to Naples, Florida, and went to work for a large company, a publicly traded radio company. And I pitched myself for a job that didn't exist, VP of sales. I was awarded that position, and the next one, and the next one. I ultimately became the chief revenue officer there. Over a 14-year period, I was advanced and won every and any award there was. Until I got fired. During that 14-year period, I worked for a wonderful man. He became ill at the end of my tenure with the company, and he decided to elevate his daughter to replace him. My number one villain. Remember Side-Eye Lady? That was her. She sent me an email, come up to my office, I need to meet with you. Officially CEO. And I thought, oh gosh, this is not going to be good. But I never thought I was getting fired. I thought she's a smart lady, I've been here for a really long time, I'm a single mother, I helped build this company, there's no way she's going to fire me. But when I walked in and she was all smiles, I knew it was all over. That was a tough day. But something really powerful happened that day in me that has changed the trajectory of my life and allowed me to dream bigger and just go bigger. She was all smiles. She was standing, not sitting, power play. And she offered me, I'm going to give you one of two choices. You can sign this memo, which said Heather Monahan has been fired. Or you can sign this one. Heather Monahan, wonderful human being and performer, all-star, most amazing person we've ever worked with, is moving on in her career to do amazing things. Let's cheer her on. We will always be by her side, blah, 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 blah. And I knew that with the beautiful memo came a very big check. Did I mention I'm a single mother? I looked at her. I knew if I took the beautiful memo, if I took the big check, I'd have to sign all of my rights away. I'd let this lady bully me one more time on my way out. I'd have to sign a non-compete, non-solicit, non-disparaging agreement, everything. A gag clause is basically what it is. But for so long, this woman had treated me poorly, and I had allowed for it. I had allowed myself not to dream bigger, not to go bigger. I had allowed myself not to raise my hand and say, you will not speak to me like that. I had turned a blind eye to it until that day. And in that day, in that moment, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I looked at her, and I took all the power out of that room. I said, I will not sign either memo. I did not write either one of these. If you have nothing else to say to me, I am out of here. And I walked out of that office with all the confidence in the world, and that day changed my life, not only because I stood up for myself, but because I fired the #1 villain in my life. And when you fire negative people from your life, you set yourself up to take off. Oh, thank you. You're so proud of me. That's so cute. You look the nicest face right there. Thank you. That was super hard and scary. But then I got in the car and said, holy shit, what do I do now? I have no money. Remember that millions of dollars I made in my early 20s? Well, I got divorced and I lost all of it in my divorce. I had no money. Well, I mean, I had a little money, but really not enough. And I thought to myself, I signed a non-compete when I took the Chief Revenue Officer position. I cannot go back to the industry that I am an expert in, that I have 20 plus years of expertise in. I have to go home right now not knowing how I'm going to pay for my son's school or my mortgage or how I'm going to get a paycheck. I was unraveling. Anxiety off the charts is a kind way to put it. I drove home crying the entire way, 3 hours. I got home, I went under a weighted blanket. I grabbed a bottle of Chardonnay, not a glass. And I told everyone in my life, steer clear of me right now. I need a window. I asked for what I needed. I don't want to hear that you cut your finger or need dinner. Everybody's going to have to fend for themselves until I can figure out what I'm going to do. Asking for what you need is critical in life, and putting yourself first is so important.
Amen to that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like that one. Putting yourself first is not selfish, it is selfless. And that is a truth. Because I put myself first, because I asked for what I needed, I was able to gather my thoughts. And this is what they said. No one's calling you. No one's reaching out to you after 20-something years of being one of the most recognized and awarded executives in radio. No one's calling. And I thought, maybe this is like getting divorced. If nobody knows you're single, no one's asking you out. And if I have ever done anything to help you, I need to hear from you now. That post went viral, and my phone started ringing. And people were calling my dear friends and family, take that post down. You look pathetic. Don't tell people you got fired, you'll never get hired again. And I did something really smart. I was doing things differently now. Remember, since that day that I stood up to that lady, I claimed my power back. I started doing things differently. For a long time, I was listening to the people outside me, what they wanted me to do. That didn't pay off so well. I was sitting fired underneath a weighted blanket with a bottle of Chard. Now, I was going to start doing what I thought I should do. So I checked in with the one voice and opinion that counts, and that is your own. And I said, I'm leaving this post up. And thank God I did leave that post up. That post went viral, and that post landed me on the Elvis Duran show, one of the largest radio shows in the country. And yes, Elvis is an amazing human being, hilarious. I had no idea what I was gonna say when I went out there. Unfamiliar, uncomfortable. This was like it was written on my forehead. I was just stepping into fear, choosing to see fear as a green light that means go and go faster. I boarded that plane to New York, and I thought to myself, lower your expectations, just don't fall with the sweaty feet when Getty Images comes out. That was my one goal, and I achieved it. So I was like, okay, we're for the win. We're out here now. Who knows what's about to happen? And Elvis was amazing, and halfway through the interview, he looks at me and he says, well, Heather, obviously you're writing a book. But I wasn't writing a book. Growing up, did any of you ever have a smart sibling? I heard someone laugh, so I know you did. Okay, I had my sister who was the smart one. I was the social one. That's why I went to sales and got in the sales lane. But for some reason, I had kept this tag or title or lane that I was given into my 40s. No one told me I had to do that, but I had to wrestle with, in my mind, if I'm not the smart one, can I write a book? She should write a book, the smart one. But because this man had such conviction and confidence in me, he spoke his belief and truth into me in that moment. And I want you to know something. If you have a belief and a truth to speak to someone, give them that gift. That day, that man, he gave me the gift of believing for more, dreaming for more, wanting more, and going for it. He spoke his belief into me. And I grabbed hold of that belief. I jumped on that plane and I Googled, how do you write a book? And it says you just have to write. I had just been fired. I had free time. So I just started writing, and at first I was just writing about the side-eye lady. Yes, I wrote about her, and you understand, I was pissed, right? I was upset. But over time I started realizing there's other times I felt like this, like in the 08-09 recession when I had to let a quarter of our company go. But we bounced back, we made it back. Or like when I got divorced and I lost all of my savings, but I made it back. And then what about the time I got cheated on? I made it back. Wait a minute, I started looking back in my life and seeing, now I can connect the dots looking back. All of these low moments opened a different door and led me down a different path that I never could have forecasted or seen. I realized I was writing a book about my lowest moments in my life and how I learned to create confidence from them and how the reader could too. 1 week before I'm ready to go live with my book, I decided I should probably call my family and tell them what I'm doing. Probably not. I shot everybody a digital copy of the new book, Confidence Creator, my first book. This is in 2018. It was coming out. I'd just been fired a few months earlier. Sent it to everybody, and I waited. And crickets. I don't know about you, but I hate crickets. I like a door slammed in my face and to be told no right in my face versus crickets. So I started dialing for dollars. Hello, what's going on? What does anyone think? My father answers, your mom's not speaking to you. True story. Not very funny at the moment. Why? She feels this portrays her in a bad way. She does not want us to go back and relive our past. I said, Dad, the book is a compilation of my lowest moments, not Mom's. He said, I understand that. Give me some time. Okay. So I called my sister, the smart one. She answers. She's also a lawyer. Didn't mention that. And she says, well, as your lawyer, I have to tell you, you're going to be sued by every single person you call out in the book. Besides, your book is sort of like a knockoff of Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. She's going to sue you too. I'm sorry to inform you, you've got to shut this idea down and scrap it, and you've got to move on. Why don't you go back to corporate America and do something similar to what you have been doing? I thanked her and I hung up. I started crying. I went back under the weighted blanket. I hope I didn't grab Chardonnay, but I really don't remember, to be honest. It's 2018, it's a few years ago. We've had a rough couple of years. I called my editor. I said, Ryan, I know we worked really hard together on this, and we thought we would bring this amazing product to market, but my sister told me, and I shared everything that she said. And he said, I've got a question for you, Heather. How many books has your sister written? And I said, none. Why? And he said, how many books have I written? I said, 19. Why? He said, who do you think you should be taking book advice from? Your sister or me? Good point, right? And he taught me a powerful lesson that day. Never take advice or direction from someone who hasn't been where you're going. You're not going to ask him how to get to Saginaw, Michigan. You're going to ask me. Thank you. Be really mindful of the people we're seeking advice from. I hadn't been. I got his point loud and clear. I thanked him. I hung up the phone. I said, we're launching this book. And thank goodness we did. That book trumped Donald Trump for #1 on the business biography list the first week it came out. And yes, I have a screenshot of that one. That was really exciting. That was super exciting. But I didn't know that was going to happen. I had to be willing to move forward in the darkness, move forward into the unfamiliar, move forward into that potential failure. I lowered that expectation on me. I thought, if only one person buys this book and it changes one person's life, I've done my job. And that's what got me to push through. But yes, I was breaking out in hives and freaking out. The irony is this is so crazy. I have a Google alert on myself, and if you don't have a Google alert on you, set it up right after we get out of here today, okay? Because you want to be the one that finds out what people are saying about you, not hearing it from someone else. So I get a Google alert one morning, this year, a couple months ago, and it says Forbes. And I see my name. I haven't spoken to anyone at Forbes. So I click on the link, and it says top 5 business books for women in 2021. And my new book wasn't out yet. And I thought, well, this is an error. My new book's not out. So I start scrolling down, I see number 1, number 2, number 3, Heather Monahan, Confidence Creator. That book I wrote back in 2018 started catching fire in 2021. Unbeknownst to me, nothing to do with me. Guess who was number 4? Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass. The book my sister told me I was going to be sued for. That was one of the moments in my life I'll never forget. I started crying. Everything is coming together. You have these moments where you see a sign and you're like, yes, I'm with you. I'm having this moment. I'm on the right path. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going to happen next. But I know I am being shown a sign for a reason. And that got my fire going. I am going to go. I'm going to build more momentum. I'm going to take bigger action steps. And I am going to get this thing off the ground. And I'll tell you, when I finally saw my book, Confidence Creator, having some success back in 2018, I said, I'm going to write a second book. And I'm going to write a second book with a traditional publishing house. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to figure it out. So I said, just go bigger, dream bigger. And I Googled, who is the #1 best female nonfiction author in 2019? This is when I Googled it. It was Rachel Hollis at the time. Well, also and Michelle Obama, but I figured I really am not going to go after Michelle Obama. Like, that's probably not the right competitive situation. I might have a better shot against someone like Rachel Hollis. So I find who is her agent, find the agent's name. I go to the website and I send her a message. I put myself in her shoes, the way we always need to when we're selling anyone. I said, what you've done here is amazing. I gave her all her accolades. I went on and on about how fantastic she was. True, honest feedback. Then I talked about how I could add value to her life. I could add a new revenue stream to her business with very little work, without causing problems for her existing business. I told her that Rachel Hollis was amazing and selling millions of books, but she leaned heavy on the religion side. We could use that same blueprint for success that they had found with Rachel, give it to me, implement it for me. I live up lead on the business side. I'm not competitive to Rachel Hollis. Immediately I got an answer. Yes, we're interested. Okay, let's get on a call. We got on a call. She ended up saying, my partner's a better fit for you. I get on a call with the partner, and the partner says, okay, we're in. Send us the book proposal. I said, what's a book proposal? She said, oh, this is where our conversation ends, Heather. And I said, hang on 1 second, one last question. If you had a family member that you wanted to write a business proposal, who is the one person you would connect them with? And she said, well, Peter Economy. I said, Jill, you'll hear from me soon. And then I went to Twitter and I tweeted at Peter Economy, you can't believe this, the #2 agent in the country just told me that you and I should work together. He tweeted right back at me, DM me, I'm gonna give you my cell. I get on the phone with him. He says, oh my God, how did this happen? I said, don't worry, we need to write a book proposal. And he said, okay, we gotta do it. He said, my fee's $20,000, Heather. And I thought, I guess I'm really gonna start investing in myself. And I shelled out $20,000 to this man to write a book proposal, not having any idea if I'd ever get a yes. And I have to tell you, it was scary, but I kept thinking there are signs showing up for me. I believe I'm on the right path. I need to pick up momentum and I need to go faster. We got that book proposal done. I went back to Jill. I said, Jill, you're gonna be really excited. Today is your lucky day. We are bringing that new revenue stream to life that I promised you. Send in the book proposal now. She called me back and said, you can do better than this. She said that to me, guess how many times? 14 times she told me no. After I'd spent $20,000 in 6 months creating a book proposal. Do you know most salespeople give up? Guess how many times they're told no and they give up? 2. Anywhere 2 to 4. 2 to 4 times the majority of salespeople will give up. Thankfully, I'm not the majority of salespeople, and I truly hope you are not either. 14 no's. And I thought, okay, this is pretty much perfect, so if she doesn't say no, if she doesn't say yes now, I think I'm gonna find another agent. That is exactly where I was the 15th time I sent it off to her. And that's the day she called me back and said yes. Then she said, okay, now we've gotta take this amazing pitch that you created and we need to go to the traditional publishing houses. And then COVID hit. And I said, I don't think this is the right time, Jill. And she said, we only have right now. We have to go. We went to 15 traditional publishing houses and the first 6 came back, no deals, COVID, not interested. And I started crying again. Why is it that I keep missing? And then the next 8 came back, yes. So we got on calls and we met with everybody, and the next thing you know, we signed with HarperCollins Leadership, and I was feeling so proud and excited until halfway through that book deal, they called me and COVID was much worse, and they said, there will be no hardcover books for your Overcome Your Villains. And I said, why? They said, we need to save money, Heather. And I said, hang on a second. We had a contract and a deal. She said, this is not how you want to start a relationship out with HarperCollins. And I said, well then let me put your shoes on for a minute. How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I help you to help me get the hardcover? And she said, well, if you can build a case for me that I can take back to our team in finance and justify why we should spend money on your book, I'll give it a shot. And I did, and I worked up a pitch, and I put myself in their shoes, and I tried to have empathy for their situation, and we saved the hardcover. I didn't take the no. People will push back on you. People will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. But I knew Rachel Hollis was still gonna get a hardcover. I didn't know what would happen with this second book. I haven't known along the past 4 years what would happen with any of these things. The one thing I have learned is I keep stepping into fear, I keep stepping out of my comfort zone, and I keep firing the villains in my life. The more we rid our lives of negative, toxic people and situations, the more opportunity we create for positive people to show up for us, for ourselves to show up for us, to become our biggest cheerleader instead of our biggest saboteur. And in my new book, Overcome Your Villains, I reveal a 3-step process that is powerful, proven, timely. It works every time, all the time, to overcome any adversity. I've been using it my entire life, and I finally put it into writing, so now I can consciously use it. Because I'll tell you, when this new book launched, everything went wrong. Supply chain issues? Got them. Delays? All over the place. And when you're with a traditional publishing house, the stakes are higher, right? Every time you dream bigger, you got more pressure. We're raising the bar on you now. And you're answering to more people. Everything went wrong. We had planned for 8 months for a November 9th launch date. And you're thinking, why does that even matter? Who cares? Here's why it matters. When you hit the Wall Street Journal, USA Today list, suddenly your publisher gives you money. They invest in you. They promote you. They get behind you. That November 9th date we planned for 8 months, 3 days before November 9th, we got the call. Not happening. Every podcast, every influencer, every partnership we had set up, it was over. Half of my books ended up shipping that week of the 9th. Half of them ended up shipping a week later. To make those lists, it's all about a 7-day window. Literally the worst thing for an author that can happen. Check, check. So we did not make the list. Needless to say, and I was really upset. I worked on this book for 2 years and for 8 months just on the launch date. So I went right back to my back process. Beliefs, action, knowledge. I stepped into my belief. Let's distill it down. Let's break it down. My belief was I'm never going to make these lists. That is not a truth. That is a story I am telling myself that is not serving me. I may make this list in the future. I've got to let this go. The book launch didn't work. I've got to move on. Step 2, take immediate action. I started posting about my book. I started tapping everybody on the shoulder. I need extra help, guys. Asking for help, asking for what you need. Step 3, knowledge. Be really mindful about the knowledge that you are accessing. I called someone light years ahead of me. I called my friend Amy Moran, who has sold 10 million books. I told her what happened, and she said, that sucks. She said, but same thing kind of happened to me with my first book. Target had given me this whole end cap next to Michelle Obama. They had bought thousands of books. I was going to become an international bestseller from this. My books never came. We lost the opportunity and they gave it to somebody else whose books were there. I said, so what happened? Nothing. I kept taking action. I kept moving on. And 2 years later, Rush Limbaugh shouted my book out, and in 24 hours, I became an international bestseller overnight. She said, Heather, just keep going. Let go of the negativity, let go of the challenge, and keep going to what's next. And I said, you're right, that's what I'm gonna do. And when I get really negative, I have to focus and say, who is one person in my life I can help right now? Because the more I'm helping someone else, the more I let go of feeling bad for myself. So I thought, oh my gosh, my good friend David Nurse has a new book coming out. I'm gonna email him and see how I can help him. I'll put him on my podcast, I'll send out an email to all my community. So I emailed David, David, I'm here to help you, your book's coming out in a few days, tell me how I can support you, I'm here. He emails me back, OMG, with a link. I click on the link. It says, Top 50 Keynote Speakers in the World 2022. And I thought, oh, my friend made the list. This is so amazing. I can't even believe this. And I start scrolling down, and there's this little head. He's number 44. He's so cute. I was so proud of him. But then I'm a curious type. So I'm going to keep scrolling. We all keep scrolling, right? I'm going to keep scrolling, and all of a sudden I get to number 34. And it's this little face. My little face is on there. And then I keep scrolling, and then I see Les Brown, and then I keep scrolling, and then I see Rachel Hollis, and then I keep scrolling, and then I see Tony Robbins, and I see Mel Robbins, and I see Brene Brown, everyone that I've been aspiring to be. And it was that moment that my friend Amy Moran said, just keep going, keep taking that next action step. For 3 years, I worked on my speaking business. Yes, for the last 2, I focused on my book. But now it was time to say, you're getting paid, things are paying off on the groundwork that you have laid that maybe you've forgotten about. Maybe you're this close right now to making your breakthrough in your business. Maybe it's the dark days right now where you're struggling, that these are the moments to say, I'm not giving up. I'm going to take the next action step. I'm just going to dream bigger. I'm just going to go bigger. Oh, thank you. That's it, I'm done. Thank you so much. So it was a really humbling and super exciting moment. That was just this week. Who knows what's going to happen next week? The harder we work, the more strategic we are, and the more we believe that something is possible for us, the more those doors will open for you, the more you will see those signs. But it all starts with you dreaming bigger. It starts with you going bigger. And it starts with you overcoming the villains around you, and most importantly, the villain within you. The light in me sees, respects, and honors the light in each and every one of you. I'm giving you the best energy for an unbelievable 2022 to just go bigger and achieve your goals. I'll be over here for anybody that wants to meet or take pictures. Cindy, is that where I'm going, over here? Okay, then maybe we'll do that. Clearly, I'm not an event planner, but I'm grateful to be here with all of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.